Hi, I'm Sophie, and welcome to my world. You know, Chinese New Year's is coming up, and I thought it would be really fun to come up with a recycled craft that would make a lot of noise and raise the roof. And so I've come up with a deli container Chinese drum, and I want to show you how to make it right now. Now, for this project, what I love is that you can use a recycled deli tub. Now, this is just, a little deli tub that you can get at your local supermarket, but you can also use like a margarine container, a cottage cheese container, anything that has a little lid, a plastic lid, and a plastic bowl part. That's what you're going to want, a lid and a bowl. You need that, and you need to make sure that they fit together nice and tight. You're also going to need a wooden skewer. Now, if you don't have a wooden skewer, you could also use a pencil or something like that, but wooden skewer is nice because it's a little bit longer. You're going to need some string or yarn, thread, anything that has a little bit of body and that has some length to it. And you need to make sure it's flexible. Okay, in this case, I have what is called an awl. Now, an awl is an amazing tool, but you may not have this. An awl is basically a very sharp version of a screwdriver. So if you don't have one of these, if you have a push pin, that will help, or a screw, a nail, or one of these eye bolt screws, if you can find one of these. Any one of these things will take the place of this awl. But if you have an awl, by all means, use it. You're going to need some beads. I'd like to use these big, larger beads to make my drum tom-tom parts. These are great, but you don't have to have those. You can always use pony beads. And we are going to want pony beads for the end of our skewers. So make sure you have at least 4 or 5 pony beads. And then a sticker. Now, in this case, I've got some Valentine's sticker here, but it doesn't need to be a Valentine's sticker. It can be any kind of sticker. And if you don't have stickers, you could just use a piece of tape. But I'm going to be using stickers. Now, I'm going to be using hot glue for this project, but you don't have to use hot glue. You can use whatever kind of glue you have on hand. But it is great if you've got hot glue and you've got adult supervision for that hot glue. Alrighty, first things first, and you will want adult supervision for this part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my deli container and I'm going to make this hole for my stick. Now, I should let you know this. You can make your drum without a stick. And if you do that, then you're not going to need the stick, of course, and you're not going to need the awl or any of those. But I'm going to show you how to make it with the hole and the stick right now. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pin here, and right in the center part here, I'm going to make sure my fingers are out of the way. I'm just going to stick this little pin right in there and make a hole. See that? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my screw or my nail or my screw eye. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this hole bigger by screwing into it. And I want to watch my fingers at all times. As you see, my fingers are nowhere near there. But see how I screw that through there? And when I unscrew it, I've got a nice hole, and my stick will fit right through there. So I'm sticking my stick right up and through, and what I'm going to do is I'm taking it and I'm pushing it all the way through to the other side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push gently, and this has a nice solid point, so it came through, which is great. But a softer one might not come through. And what I'm going to do is if that hadn't come through, it would have at least left an indent. And then what I would have done is just put that pin in there again, and this time I'll use the nail. Again, watch, my fingers are nowhere near. So adults, you might want to help out on this part because we don't want anybody getting stuck with a nail or a pin. And there you have it. So that makes the hole there and the hole there, so that now I can stick this up and through, and it makes the base of my drum so that it can spin. Now what I want to show you here is how to make the tom-tom part. So I'm going to remove that stick right now because I don't need it. And I'm going to take my string. I want my string to be 3 times the length from here to here, from side to side. So I'm going to go 1, I hold it here, 2, hold it here, 3. That's 3 times the diameter of this circle. Now, one more time, I'm going to show you. Take your hand, put it one side here, one side here. 1, keep your finger, then you take it. 2, slide it along, keep my finger here, pinch here, pull it across. 3, that gives me exactly 3 times the diameter. I just realized I didn't bring scissors with me today. Oh well. So now I cut my string. So make sure you have scissors on hands. Every now and then I forget something, you guys. Today I forgot my scissors. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thread and I'm going to stick it through my big bead. Now sometimes it's a little hard to get a string through, and so what you do is you can use that skewer to just push it through to the other side. And now I'm just going to tie this off. And tie it off there. And this is going to get a lot of abuse because it's going to be hitting the deli container to make the noise. And so I want to tie this about 4, 5, 6 times. I really want to make sure that I tie this really, really well. Okay, there we go. And got some scissors here so I can cut off the extra there. There we go. They magically appeared. Those are magic scissors. Okay, great. Now I want to tie it on the other side as well. And I'm going to trim that side because, you know, I broke that with my hands. And that made that very, very wonky at the end there. Okay, now I've got my bead. I'm going to place my string through it, pull it through so that I can wrap it around the bead and tie it. And again, I'm going to tie this 6 times to make sure that it's nice and secure. I'm just tying a regular knot here. And what that means is I'm just going to take my string, I wrap it around and make a circle and pull the end through that circle. That's 4, 5, and 6. There we go. 5 is enough for now. And I'm going to cut a little extra off there. Okay, now, this is what I love about this project because once you get this together, you're really close to being done. Okay, you take this and you center it. Now, on this deli container, can you see that little circle there? It's got a little bottom part. Most deli containers will have that little central center. Make sure that you've got your 2 holes that you made for your stick, one facing the top, one facing the bottom, and your central hole. What you want to do is put your string right there along that line so that it's right in the middle. And then what you want to do is you want to take your sticker, push that string down, and put your sticker right in the middle. Now, again, if you don't have a sticker, don't dismay. You can use a piece of tape. There we go. And then what you can do is take your lid and guess what? The lid seals it. And there's your drum. Now see, there's your drum without the stick. Isn't that cool? It makes a great noise. Now if you make your strings a tiny bit longer, you'll get a little bit more flippity-floppity around. But you can see, short makes a great sound too. Now what I'm going to do, take my stick, push it up through that bottom hole, and up through the top hole. Now watch your fingers, make sure your fingers are not anywhere near that edge. You want to push this through just so that that point comes through. Now this is where I'm going to be using those pony beads. Remember I told you about the pony beads? I'm going to need a few of these. All right, I'm going to be using my hot glue here, but remember you can use any kind of glue you want. You can use school glue, White Elmer's glue, you could even use glue dots. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place some hot glue on this stick. I'm going to count to 10 so that it gets a little bit tacky. And now see how it likes to drip there? Make sure that your fingers are nowhere near that drip. And now I'm going to take the pony bead, I'm going to place it on the top. Now I've got this nail. Remember, I can use that nail to push this down. That'll make sure that my fingers are nowhere close to that hot glue. Now I'm going to add another bit more of this hot glue here. And I'm going to take that pony bead, give it a 10 count, and push it down. And there we go. That's going to keep this from pulling out. That's why we hot glued it. Again, remember, you can use any kind of glue that you got. Now on the bottom, we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put a little drop of hot glue right here. Take my bead. And, oh, this is interesting. This is something new and it's always exciting. This bead is actually too small to fit onto the end of this skewer. This must be an extra fat skewer that snuck into my normal skewers. So I'm going to use one of these big fat beads because this should work. But normally on a regular skewer, I would be using this pony bead. But for some reason, this really fat skewer snuck into my skewer box. Wonder where he came from. Okay, now I do have this tiny little bit here. See that? That little point? I want to get rid of that. I'm going to use my scissors. I want to get rid of that so there's nothing sharp at all. And then I can add a little bit more hot glue just on the top, like that, so that now I can make my drum twirl with my stick. And that's all there is to it. So remember, you've got two different ways that you can make your drum. The simple handheld version or one with a stick. And then also remember that you can decorate it as much as you want. You can add paper, you can add bells, you can add tape, whatever you want. You've got your basic and your overly decorated, which is always fun. Remember, have as much fun with whatever you've got on hand. For more noise-making ideas, come and check us out at Sophie-World.com.